They got a new format, so I got to get used to that. That's okay. Welcome back to Chiefs Chat, guys. It's Wednesday night. It is Wednesday, right? Like
Yeah.
the good old. I'm here with my co-host with the most, Huong Forrest. How's it going, Huong?
It's going good. It's good to see you. Good to be on. I'm trying to remember how to do this, y'all. So some grace for tonight would be amazing.
The free agent, the momdom is taking over her life. The boys are getting big. If you guys know her on social media, then you know. Life moves forward. They just finished their football season. She said they were in the championship. We won't get into how that ended because it's heartbreaking, but it's awesome that they were there. And then they're starting basketball now. So congratulations to mommy.
That's right.
Cole Keller's in the chat already. Good to see
Thank
you,
you.
Cole. How's it going, buddy? We are in.
Love it.
We were this close to breaking a record. St. Louis Shocks in the chat. Good to see you, pal. Chiefs have never won more than 9 straight to start a season. The same thing this year. We got our first loss. Give me your first impressions of the first loss to the Buffalo Bills, who always seem to beat us in the regular season.
They always give us a really great run for our money in the regular season here. I was a little stunned. I will say that it wasn't like completely devastating, only because we've definitely been here before. So I think that was part of that, the reality check of it all. So I think too, you and I both know this, but I think that having a perfect undefeated season is just about impossible too. And the pressure that mounts from week after week of this perfectionism that fans like to see, but players don't attain for. I think that was a big part of like, hey, it's going to be okay. It's one loss or a good football team. You know, the Bills are a really good football team. So if we were to lose to anybody, it would be them. Unlike, more than almost a year ago when we lost to the Raiders on Christmas Day, our last loss. So rather it be in this game versus a trap game. So, but I love that the pressure's off and that we can just continue to move forward and continue the march for a three-peat. So,
hey, we had a 15-game win streak. We lost to one of the best teams in football. For my money, they've got the MVP right now. Josh Allen is playing like a crazy person. Like he always does, but even more so. And I watched that game, and I watched the cat's freaking out back there.
Your cat has opinions and thoughts too,
right? The cat's a cat. I was about to talk about the Bengals and Ravens. Our Bengals and Chargers. I watched our game, and I watched the Bengals Chargers game. Hang on one second. I got to address the situation. Give me 1 second. Hong, talk to them about your thoughts on whether Josh Allen will win the MVP or not, real quick.
He's playing pretty hard.
Themselves.
Yep. Danilo will be back, y'all. He's playing really hard. And I think that as a Chiefs fan, as a big Patrick Mahomes fan, it's been really hard for me to know that Patrick has not been in the conversation. He's definitely not playing at the level that we're accustomed to seeing him play at. So Josh definitely is in that conversation for very good reason. So I would say that he deserves to be in that conversation for sure. And Danilo's just saying that Josh definitely deserves to be in that conversation. And as a Chiefs fan and a Patrick Mahomes fan, I'm, of course, a little bit bummed that Patrick is not in that conversation. But of course, he's not playing at a level that we are accustomed to seeing him play at.
I mean, we're 9-1 though, and it's smoke and mirrors,
right?
It's hey, there's been seasons past when a guy who's rightfully in the race this year as well is Lamar Jackson, who's been granted MVP status when the numbers I didn't think were the best quarterback in football, but the win rate and the way that the Ravens had won those years was what pushed him over the top. That's why Patrick is still he's just lingering. When you listen to the pundits, he's lingering around in the MVP conversation. And I'm looking at the numbers. I'm like, oh, suddenly quietly he's double-digit touchdowns, and he's more touchdowns than interceptions by enough that it matters. There are a lot of picks. I was worried about the picks, and the picks bother me. The interceptions bother me.
Yes.
But there's a lot of interceptions in the league this year. Like literally half the league has 7 or more interceptions already. 4 guys have double-digit interceptions. Like the defenses are getting the ball. We are not. We're going to talk about that, unfortunately. We have a really, really great defense, except in the 2 categories where it's super impactful on the game or seemingly super impactful, which are sacks and interceptions. We're not taking the ball away at a very high rate. And we're not sacking the quarterback anywhere near our normal standard, which is top 2 or 3 teams in the league, sometimes top 1 team in the league. We're just not doing it this year. But our run defense is so good. And our pass defense is very good. So it's working out. It's like the takeaways are nice. The sacks are nice. We've talked about that before on this channel, though. Tackles for a loss are sacks by another name. That's just a different guy going down instead of the quarterback. You get the running back in the backfield for a 5-yard loss, same as a sack. Lost the down, lost the yardage, moving on to the next play. Is there a big concern you have on the defense right now? And if so, what?
I think the defense is doing a really good job. I feel like all season long, I've been really impressed with what they're doing. I feel like they have kept us, especially in the games where offense looks a little bit sloppy. The defense really has carried us through in a lot of those situations. So I am not nitpicky about the defense right now, I don't believe. But like you said, though, I wish, though, there would be more defensive picks and give me some scoop and scores.
Right?
I want to see that happen.
They could be on the way. They could be on the way because this defense led in sacks by George Karlaftis. His jersey's in my closet because he's that good. The guy who I was like, oh, I don't know if I want this guy early like this. And then my fans said, go look at his tape. Don't believe the people that said he's this guy 2.0. That wasn't a very good draft pick. And I looked at his tape and fell in love with the guy immediately. He's leading the team in sacks. We're missing Charles. Charles Omenihu is an impactful player. Him being on the field with that wingspan and the speed with which he gets pressure on the quarterback makes a huge difference for the effectiveness of Chris and all the other guys across the board. He's going to make a big difference when he gets back, and nobody wants it more than that guy. That guy was this close to playing in the Super Bowl and didn't get to do it.
Yeah.
He's going to come back with a fierce passion. It's going to be great. And in the talk of him and Pacheco possibly being very soon on their way back, maybe this week, we'll find out. They're limited practicing already, which is great. But I saw a little clock appear on X, on someone's X page. One Hollywood Brown put the little clock on his page. So he's
counting me down too.
He's coming. And we just picked up a new weapon, a new guy, a new toy for the offense. And some people say, well, he's not really a weapon. Maybe he's a weapon. Tyquan Thornton ran a 4.28 in the 40 at 6'2", 181 pounds. If we can turn him into a younger, not as tall but still tall, MVS, who, by the way, MVS is kicking butt with New Orleans right now. For all those people who slag me when I said we should maybe bring him back, yeah, he's doing all right over there. I mean, the team's horrible, but he's playing very well. And he seems to be catching everything now, touchdowns too. But yeah, this guy in his first season had almost identical stats to Sky Moore, except he had 2 touchdowns on offense. His end-arounds don't end up in a defensive huddle at the line of scrimmage, smashing him into the ground. His end-arounds look like a more effortless version of what Worthy does because he's a long strider. So it doesn't look like he's going fast, and then he's by you. So we got another guy that can do jet sweeps. He's got 4.2 and change speed. I can't wait to see how they use him with Worthy. I don't know that he's going to be up this week. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's going to know the offense that fast. He's 24. It might be a lot to try to cram all that into his head. That said, they have the 2-guy bring up they can do. Maybe Andy brings them up to go, you know what? You're going to play 4 plays. You're going to do jet sweep. You're going to do a double post speed with Worthy and pitch the safety and see what happens. And we're going to have you guys both fade down the sideline a couple times and bring the defense with you so we can have Travis Kelce wreak havoc underneath against the Carolina Panthers. Katie's going to get their claws pulled out. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this game, this matchup this week? They're coming off back-to-back wins. The Carolina Panthers are.
Which has got to be exciting for them, but, you know. But no, I mean, this is going to be their Super Bowl. Like, every team that plays us every single week. They have to come in giving their all, even when we are not playing as well as we should be playing. So, and that's great. Everyone's coming at us and giving us their very best. And that's what you want to see. You want to see that week after week. But we're just going to come in and do what we need to do, what we have to do, even if it's not going to be as pretty and cleaned up for whatever the reason. I think the last couple of weeks have kind of shown us that we do have a lot of things that we need to work on going into this on this side of the schedule. So,
right. Well, let's look at the chats really quickly. I'm up to 821 subs. Just 1 second. I'm up and down, man. It's been like 8. I think that might be the highest, actually. It's been like, it was 8, 15, 18, 17, 19. It was all over the place.
Share it, y'all. Let's get a few more.
Share it out there. Get the people going. I'm going to be moving my channel over to Rumble soon, just because I want to have this, but I want to have Rumble as well. So if we get a little off topic or a little blue, the language might get a little blue sometimes. It's not for children, this content all the time. Anyway, Schlock says, let's see here. Jones hasn't been an impact for numerous weeks. Tight ends are constantly getting first downs on third down and always having a big week. Not trying to be negative, but I'm just being critical on the things I'm seeing. Hey, man, it's okay. You're allowed to feel the way you feel. Everybody sees what they see, and some of what we're seeing is not so great right now. So it is what it is. Chris has had those moments where he just doesn't really do much on the stat sheet, but he does collapse the pocket. Last week, I was kind of surprised about one thing. As elusive as Josh Allen can be, Sack Nation rotation was just not there. There was just no pressure. It was probably the most relaxed game he had. I think it took him a quarter and a half to realize, I've got forever back here. I don't have to hurry at all. And then he started having fun with it. Thankfully, he threw a ridiculously bad interception, just like our quarterback did to start the game off of. Yeah. So that kind of evened things out. I didn't love the fact that their wide receiver off the ball got away with massive pass interference on a touchdown, and the touchdown stood. I didn't like the fact that they still frame Tony Romo and the team on the broadcast are showing it in super duper slow-mo, Amari Cooper trying to catch the ball. Yeah. And they still frame it like, just because you still framed it and the ball stopped moving doesn't make it a catch. And his fingers were still flexed. Like he hadn't even wrapped his fingers on the ball yet as his foot's coming off the ground. That was never a catch. That was as much a catch as Worthy's was on the other side, which was not a catch. Right. Because Worthy dragged your foot before he had the ball. I'd rather see that. He's so
that attempt
dragging the foot that he did it before he even had the ball.
The timing of it, though.
And I mean, if Patrick would have put some sauce, he said himself, he puts a little sauce in that ball, it's a walking touchdown. Because he was cruising across the field, no one had a chance, and he carried him out of bounds. It happens. All this said, we're still 9-1. We still have our destiny in our hands. We're in charge of everything. The 2 toughest games, I believe, left on the schedule. I'll throw the Chargers in there as a third, but I think the Steelers and the Broncos at the end of the season, because the end of the season, I mean, now we don't care about, like you said, the going undefeated is off the table, so who cares?
Right.
But the Broncos are going to be playing for something in week 18. Yeah. So, and we're playing that game at their house. So that could be interesting. I hope our guys are home and resting. I hope that the Buffalo Bills lose 1 or 2 more, and we can kind of coast into that last week game. Because if we are 2 games ahead, or you have to be 2 games ahead, we can't be a game ahead, because if we have the same record, we're going to lose home field advantage. And I don't think Andy's about to want to do that. I really don't want to see our guys play in week 18 if they don't have to. I want that.
Well, and in seasons previously, our bye week has generally come a little bit later in the season. Ours was relatively early this year. So, early. You know how it is. And with it being a longer season, guys are tired, bodies are tired. So we really got to push through here and really work on some of those holes and some of those deficits, especially with all these other teams improving and getting better. You see the Steelers week after week, they are growing and they are hungry and they are doing everything that they can to be where they're at. So same thing with the Broncos. And I think those are the 2 for me that I am. And then Chargers I always feel every time we play the Chargers, there's a slight trap game scenario there. So I would say those are 3 that I would be on the lookout for, as well as, hey, we really have to have things buttoned up.
Right. the thing I think people are forgetting, to go along with the fact that we're 9-1, which is awesome. It was highlighted on this SI article about the Chiefs. It said the Kansas City Chiefs appear to be getting healthier after being ravaged by injuries throughout the first half of the 2024 season. Let that sink in. Let that sink in now. This team, man, the injuries on the receiving core, with Jalen Watson down, he played 6 games for it. Like, the stuff across the board, these guys, the running back going out early in the season, bringing in Kareem Hunt, they've just been moving pieces around. Riley, our rookie tight end, who looked like he was going to be something this season, out, gone for the year. Like, this team's going through a lot. Knock on wood, thank God, goodness. I was watching that game live with you guys that night when Patrick did that double weird move and like jammed his knee and rolled his ankle again against the Buccaneers. And I was like, tell me that's not an Achilles, because I'm going to lose it if that's, oh my gosh, thank goodness it's not anything so severe. But that hurts that like a bugger if you roll it again after it's already been hurt. And he's always got lower leg issues because people are always trying to grab him around the knees and lower and yank on him and do all kinds of crazy stuff. But this
and he's had to do all kinds of crazy stuff in and out of the pocket this season, for whatever the reason. I just like he's just scrambling, and then he puts himself in those situations where he has to make these crazy calls. And it's like, nope, please, somebody protect our quarterback, please.
I have what you might call a nagging concern or a naggy concern. I'm going to go ahead and throw that one up for Cole. Let everybody know he's going to be at the game. You guys are going to be there at the Charger game. Cole's going to be there, letting you all know. And like you said, get those subs up. You guys like and subscribe, tap the notification bell. I have a concern with Nagy. And this past week, people are like all over the tackles. Okay, we don't have the 2 best tackles in football. All right, we don't. We have one of the better ones, and he hasn't been getting ragged by the refs so much this year as he was last year. Jawan Taylor on the right side, he's been minding his P's and Q's a little better on not taking off early. On the left side, it's been the rotation of Wanya Morris and Kingsley, the young guy, the rookie.
But he was seated this last week after his performance the week before. He was benched.
Yeah.
So
well,
he's got a little bit more developing to do.
Working through an injury too. They're always working through an injury when they get benched. It's injury related. That's what it is. He injured my pride when he let those sacks happen.
Exactly.
Thankfully, we're not that lopsided in sacks. I had a whole bunch of charts up. I'm not going to bring them up right now. I'm just going to keep with us for now. But we've allowed – our team only has 19 sacks. That's scary low for us at this point of the season. Maybe I will bring that stat up for you guys just so you guys can – well, I'll just read it to you guys. You don't have to see it. Trust me. If you don't believe me, you can go check it out yourselves. Because otherwise I'll be popping through a bunch of screens, and on StreamYard it's not as
all kinds of stats out there, y'all. PFF.
Yes.
All of them.
We are ranked 22nd in the league in sacks. We're usually top 2 or 3, sometimes the top 1. We've only had 19 sacks. Thankfully, we've only given up 22. Now we're upside down on it, but it's not like some of the teams are giving up 30, 40, like it's getting crazy for some of the teams. Part of that's our fault. Part of that is, okay, think back. If you guys watched all the games, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. I'm live with you guys. We're talking. It's halftime. I said, fear not. They're going to remember in the second half to run the ball. And in the second half of that game, we ran the ball. And Kareem Hunt had 109 yards on 27 carries, and everything was fine. And the next week, we played the Broncos. And I was listening to that one on the radio, and it was driving me nuts because I was saying, run the ball. What are you doing? Why are you not?
I hear your voice every single time we deviate from the run game, and it doesn't work for us very well. I hear your voice. I just want you to know that.
I recognize how great our quarterback is. I recognize how great our offense could be. And if we had all the healthy receivers, and we don't right now, take the pressure off of him. He plays great when you balance the offense. When you don't balance the offense, it's hard because you become one-dimensional, and teams just start teeing off on your quarterback and rushing those tackles, knowing they got nothing to worry about up the middle. The game against the Broncos was the first game of the season where we didn't – was it the first game? I think it was the first game where we didn't, as a team, run the ball 20 times or more. What do we always say in this channel?
That when we run the ball at least 20 times or more, we win the game.
We win like 98% of the time.
Yeah.
When we don't run the ball, we lose 98% of the time if we don't run it 20 times or more. I said during the Broncos game, I tweeted out, I said, I think this is going to be one of those 2% games. I felt good about that game. I felt like, hoping against hope like a ridiculous fan that we blocked the kick or they'd miss wide right or something. And they blocked the kick and it was awesome. But in that game, it was technically officially on the score sheet. It was, we didn't run the ball 20 times against the Broncos. We ran the ball 19 times. But
the idea was there.
Kareem Hunt also had a day as a receiver, which he normally doesn't get, which I don't know why he doesn't get it more often, because when he used to play for us, he was a good receiver out of the backfield. And that game against the Broncos, he had 7 catches for 65 yards. So 7 plus 14, he had 21 himself, really, 21 touches. Cut to last week. So the halftime debacle, and then we fix it with the Buccaneers. Then the Bronco game, but we mixed in the pass. That helped even things out a bit. Then last week, up against one of the best quarterbacks in football, where you can't not be balanced because they're going to be balanced, and we run the ball 14 times with Kareem Hunt, and he gets no catches. I saw them at one point trying to make – Samaje Perine's a nice addition to the team. He's good mixing in there. But at one point, it was just like he was the offense for like 3 plays. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to run everything through Samaje Perine? Hand the ball to 29.
Yep.
The best 3 guys on our offensive line are the 3 guys in the middle, and let them grind the shit out. Get in their face, knock them back, get some yards, loosen off, make some holes in the secondary. If those guys got to come down and start boxing in, then Kelsey's going to have room. Kelsey had 2 catches.
Exactly. He was almost non-existent in that game. Right. And I think especially I'm just going to say that, like, especially with Isaiah Pacheco coming back, hopefully really, really soon, that having those 2, Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, having them in the game, and if we utilize them more, that would be really wise of us. If we have them sitting there, 2 of the greatest backs that we can ask to have on our roster, that would be such a shame. So we need to utilize them.
Well, we have Rob Mulliken coming in with this. First of all, I just want to say Kevin Capel said last game was a real bad effort. Didn't play or as a team at all. Hopefully this is a wake-up call. I don't 100% agree with that, Kevin. We can break that down a bit. I'll get Honk's viewpoint on it as well. But first I want to touch Rob's statement here. He said it wasn't feeling it at all last year, and my surprise we win the Super Bowl. He said last year after the Raiders game, I didn't expect much. The Chiefs turned it into a postseason. Is that reasonable expectation this year? We are so spoiled. Can I just say that we are so spoiled? My answer to your question is I'm gonna go Canadian, and answer your question with a question. What are you talking about, We're 9-1, guys. We're 9-1.
We lost one game.
Put the fires out in your pants. We were down by 1 score most of the game. The last score that we gave up, I'm just like, I still have that feeling of defensive players being afraid to go all out to hit the quarterback because they're afraid to get flagged for hitting the quarterback. Hey, take a page out of the Patriots defensive playbook. When it's that guy, when it's 17 and red, white, and blue, knock his teeth in. Because once he passes the line of scrimmage, the league looks at him like a really big and effective running back. Don't sit back and wait for him to run you over like Tyrann Mathieu and get knocked out of the football game. Get in there, especially you linebackers. I don't even care if you're a DB. DB, you should be wrapping. You think L'Jarius Sneed would have backed off? LJ would have been in there. Now, LJ's having a bad year.
I miss him.
I miss him too, but he's not doing very well over. If he was on our team right now, I'm looking at the tackle stats.
He's so impactful.
23 combined tackles on his team. He would be 12th on our roster. That's how much tackling is going on in the Chiefs secondary and linebacker core. We are getting after it, yo. This defense is so good. This defensive rank, let's see if I can bring one picture. Well, I'm not even going to try to bring it up because StreamYard, it's just not worth the hassle. I don't want to lose Hong and have to try to figure this thing out again. Defensive stats Just take my word for it. I'm looking at the chart right now for StatMuse. Points allowed, we were 8th in the league. That's awesome. Top 10. Yards per game, 3rd. Yards per play, 4th. Let's see here. Or no, plays allowed, 4th. 7th in average per play. Rushing yards were 3rd, and rushing average were 3rd. Passing yards were 10th. Passing average were 9th. Sack yards were only 3rd. So we're not bad on sack yards, even though we've given up 22. We're just not getting the sacks ourselves. But then turnovers, we're not getting the ball back. We're not taking it away from the other team. We're getting punts. We're making the other team punt. So that's the way we're getting the ball back this year. It's not as flashy. It's not as dashy. It's not as impactful. It's not. The big thing is we don't get the momentum swings we usually get. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a thing that affects some of the players mentally, especially some of the young guys that are new to the team and they got to like try to understand. Or some of the old guys that are new to the team. Rob Mulligan says, I was hoping J.A. would know the name of Jay Hicks after the game and nothing.
A few picks would have been
hoping,
nice.
Oh, you hoping that Hicks would have a big game at his expense. They'll figure it out. It's like the lady said. They win in the regular season, and we win in the playoffs. And Josh Allen's very well aware of that. Josh said it's just a nice Week 11 win. That's all it is. It's just you didn't even get excited. That's how aware he is of. Okay, don't get crazy. Don't get it twisted now.
Well, that's the thing. They can't. Even throughout that game with us trailing for the entire duration of the game, still, the 13-second game was an instant classic for a reason, right? Like you just don't know when these two teams are playing against each other. You just have no idea which way it could go in a matter of 13 seconds or not.
And then they asked, I watched Patrick Mahomes post game. I watched it today. I didn't watch it right away. I watched nothing after that game right away. I watched.
Fair enough.
There's no need. I saw the game. I don't need to watch the post game stuff. I saw what happened. I was there. I was watching with my eyeballs. He said that one of the questions he got was, "What happened there on the interception?" He goes, "Which one? The first one or the second one?" He calls himself out right away. That guy was the second one. He goes, "The second one, I threw it to a wide open guy. I got hit while I was throwing the ball, and it got picked off." Next question. Just like I'm like, ooh, he's getting a little belly checky there. He's getting a little belly checky there. We're on to the Carolina Panthers. It's just like, can you not ask me stupid, obvious questions? Did you not see my arm you not see me get hit and the ball went not where I wanted it to go? That happens sometimes. The other team's good too. I do feel like they did themselves a disservice by not balancing the offense, by not running the football. I want to see Kareem Hunt get utilized more. And like I said, my fear was my relief when Nagy left and Eric Bieniemy took over was that a running back was going to be the offensive coordinator instead of a quarterback. Yeah. But then we still had those moments too because Bieniemy was kind of the guy out of the backfield running back. He wasn't always the between the tackle carry guy. So he'd get moments too where he'd get into the passing game. And it's easy to do when 15's your quarterback. It's really fun to watch. It really is. But when you have a quarterback, a former QB who's an offensive coordinator, it takes a special guy to go, hey, you know what? Let's run the ball because we're getting over almost 4.5 yards a carry with Kareem Hunt. That's one of the worst rush defenses in the league across from us, and they're teeing off on our quarterback because all we're doing is throwing it. So I wish they had a coach assistant assigned to go over and remind Andy, risk being the cheeseburger of the moment. What's that?
It's time to run the ball, coach. Yeah. You know how Sean McVay has the get back coach that pulls him back? We need somebody whose job is to be like, it's time to run the ball, coach.
Just walk over to the coach and go, hey, Andy. That's a symbol.
I volunteer as tribute for this job.
I'll do it. You pay me a modest salary. I'll just stand there.
Modest salary is all I'm asking. Happy to do it.
1, 2, 3, run it. 1, 2, 3, 4, run it. 1, 2, run it. Just mix it up. Don't make it too obvious. The other thing that frustrated me too was did you see this or am I just imagining things? I know I'm not. I'm going to ask you anyway. Did you see there was a moment where we got the touchdown, but did we get the touchdown or we might have kicked a field goal? I can't remember. I got to watch it again painfully. But We had a rushing touchdown with Kareem Hunt, untouched, going in. It would have been. And Andy called a timeout, took that back, and then called this I got to get cute shit at the goal. God love the man. Sometimes it's like, don't overthink it, bro. Don't overthink it. You just had 6. Why? And you saw him. He called the time. He got the timeout. As soon as he got the timeout, he watched the play happen because the players didn't know. They were playing the play like it was live because it happened so fast. They were so close to goal line. And he saw how easy Kareem Hunt got in. And you see him go, damn it. Like knowing he shouldn't have called that timeout. Can we, is it a thing? Rhetorical question, but I want to hear your viewpoint. Do we get too cute sometimes, Hong? Do we get too enamored in our ingenious play calling skills?
Yes. And I don't think that was the time or the place. I mean, we can save them for when we play the Raiders a second time in the season. We can save it for, when we've secured home field advantage in the playoffs. Generally, I feel like we normally don't see Andy do that early in the season with the cutesy stuff. So
there was that in the double spin around that Patrick did. Those were the only 2 times, and it felt like a concerted effort after that to and this is where I took heart in the game. I felt like after those moments, Andy was like, decompress. We are going to beat them straight up with vanilla offense, or we are not going to win because I'm saving everything and the kitchen sink for the next time we play them because, we're going to play them again. I feel like they just dialed everything back and we're just like, it was just vanilla, generic, pass over here, just some of the stuff. Just the other thing too is, guys, with all the inconsistency offensively with guys going out of the offense, guys being lost for the season, lost for weeks, whatever, it's hard to build that timing and all that rapport. Defense can just kind of, you have a system. And if you know the system, which most of these guys have been in it for a number of years together, they're reading off each other. They know what the other guy's going to do already. That's why our defense was so good so fast. Offense usually takes longer to get good. And if this guy Thornton can be anything in the offense with that speed, and Worthy can keep developing, and D-Hop gets better and gets more used to the offense, and things start clicking. The Noah Gray had a coming out party this week. Quietly happened, and people aren't noticing that he quietly put himself on the map of like, I'm here too.
I can't remember which game it was just within the last couple of weeks where I found myself thinking that he really could be like the reliable, dependable tight end that we turn to, especially with conversations about when Travis is going to retire or not, but Noah Gray is really carving out a space for himself, really making himself like that second man on that tight end space. So,
Hardman made some nice plays in this game. Hardman had the nice run up the sideline. I'm just like, I love when he does that to the Bills too. There's a good group here, and we just got Juju back, and Juju gets in there. Like, we just got him back.
Yeah.
So when this offense, if we get to the playoffs and we hold on to the number 1 seed, and we get the week 17 where everybody can kind of relax and get used to things, and maybe Hollywood Brown is already practicing by then, and then we have the bye week, and he gets the offense even that much more sure. He's been with the team all year. It's not like he doesn't know the offense already.
Right.
I pity the team that's got to play us that first playoff game. I pity their secondary because it's going to be scorched earth. We might see a totally different offense from what we've seen all season long. We might be back into 330 passing yard, 5 touchdown games where it's just like, it's the second quarter and you guys are down by 28. Good luck. The second half. Hang on one second. I got a quick question. What are your thoughts on that and the chance of things turning around in a big way by the end of the season?
Oh, for sure. I definitely think that it will. That's where we will continue to make adjustments over the next few weeks. Excuse me, y'all. Usually I catch the mute button when I'm hacking up my lung here. But no, I think that the adjustments will happen. We'll get there. Players will come back from injury and the pieces will fall into place and we'll start to look like a lot better oiled machine. So some of the things that we're seeing right now, like you said, it takes a lot of time, people being in and out of their primary spots and whatnot. And so it does take some time. So that's part of the fun of later in the season with football, is that once you get the guys back, once everyone is at this for a little bit longer and playoffs are right around the corner, everybody is in there. Everyone is locked in. Everybody is on the same page. So might be a little bit dusty still in a few areas, but I think that's the fun part of this later half of football.
And the run game, when Pacheco's back, think of the run game that Cleveland had when they had Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco and my new fan favorite, Carson Steele, gets to learn behind these guys.
Right?
It's to just ease into the offense slowly, take
Don't
his
forget
time.
about that young man.
Yeah, don't get overwhelmed with too much stuff all at once like he was having to do early in the season.
Yeah.
And they had a play combo early in the game this week where Hunt ran the ball, and then they had an offset I formation with Carson Steele on the right side, and Patrick whipped around and did the fullback handoff, and it was just like, oh yeah, he's a running back too.
Yep.
He might be lined up like a fullback, but that's a tailback with tailback speed and tailback power and tailback wiggle. So, man, I'm looking at this offense and how, like, as a former offensive player, looking at this offense and looking at the weapons, it's just there's a lot of very, very good. There's a little bit of great and a lot of very, very good to go along with the best quarterback in football.
Exactly.
And when it all gets healthy and it all gets clicking and everything hits, we are. People are always like, "Oh, you don't want to hit your stride too early." We are so far from hitting our stride, and we're 9-1. What holy heck with small H's is going to be unleashed on defense?
Spoil that we talk about. That's the entitlement that we've got. When we're not winning by egregious amounts, and we aren't doing all the crazy things out there. Patrick hasn't even wowed us, so there's so much more to be had.
Kansas Axelotl calling it out, 3-peat in session.
Love
dang
it.
Skippy Kansas. It is. You dang Skippy it is. Cole said it was cool to see Noah Gray catch his first 2 touchdowns of the season against the Bills, regardless of the result of the game. Yeah, I would have loved to have him get those on a win, but yeah, absolutely. He played his butt off. And he also said the Bills can have this regular season win. We have their number when it really counts.
That's right.
Absolutely. Rob Mulkin with the, should we have a 13 personnel with 2 back set, 27 and 10? I'm looking at, here's what I'm going to let that kitty out of the bag with you guys right now. I'm looking forward to, I saw it early in the season before we had Kareem, when we just had Pirine and Pacheco and Carson. And then I saw this commercial. And I know you guys know the commercial. I'm not going to play it. I don't want to get copyright, stupid, whatever. Plus, it's harder to pull up in here. I just want to don't want to lose our screen. I know you guys have seen the State Farm commercial with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Jake from State Farm Part 2. The Bundle Rooski commercial.
Bundle Rooski.
He's getting all weird and funny. Mark my words, there's going to be a play. We're going to get to this Super Bowl. There's going to be a play, and it's going to be 3-back set. It's going to be Patrick's right here. We're going to have a back to his left, a back to his right, and a back behind him. They're all going to be slightly behind, but one's going to be further behind. The other 2 are going to be kind of just offset to either side. And they're going to do some kind of weird whip around, handoff to the left, spins around, other back comes across and leads left, and then hand off to the guy in the furthest back, and he's going to go in, and Patrick's going to roll this way, and the first back's going to roll behind Patrick like they're blocking for each other, and these 2 are going to go the opposite direction, and they're going to score a touchdown, and they're going to make a big impact in the game, and it's going to be called the Bundle Rooski. Wait for it. Watch it. Andy Reid had way too much fun doing that commercial, because I'm sure the whole time he was doing it is like, oh, I know the perfect play for this.
Oh my gosh.
Watch for some wicked, awesome multi-running back play.
The Wasp play is on the floor of as you walk into like the Hall of Legends, the Hall of Fame inside Kansas City Chiefs Stadium. But let's complete the three-peat and then have the Bundarooski join that too on the carpet there.
Which you know, that's seen you forever. Good to see you.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's got to be in there. That's got to be one that's in there. I want to see. I hope they have one every year. Every time they win, I hope they have like a big play on the floor. It was absolutely awesome to see him doing some comedy. Rob says he loves it. He's loving it. It's McDonald's up in here. Couple of cheeseburgers to go. It's a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
The pressure's off. There's no more undefeated season. The team, to their credit, had not been talking about it. The pundits just started talking about it. And it's almost like the universe or the team itself was just like, we're not even worrying about it. Let's get it over with. Get this loss out of here. Let's move on. And can I just say, I'm so glad, if it had to be to one of the last two teams who played, it was the Bills and not the Broncos, and that we ripped the heart out of the Broncos the way we did. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Can't even.
Kudos to Bo. Bo Nix is.
He played his butt off. He really did. He did a great job.
He's not in the category yet. I was going to say early in the show. We're almost done here. I know Hung's probably got to go. The fun part for me was watching that as a fan of the game, watching our game, and then right after that, watching the Chargers and Bengals. And I'm just like, and two of those quarterbacks are my two favorite quarterbacks in the NFL. Unfortunately, one of them plays for Buffalo. My favorite, of course, is 15. But watching those two, my second favorite is really actually the guy who wears powder blue. I like that guy a lot. Herbert is, if we were in another universe, I've said it before, where we didn't get to have Patrick, I would want that guy. But I want Patrick if I get to choose. I get to watch back-to-back games with four of the best quarterbacks. And like, how spoiled is the AFC for the next few years with quarterback play?
Very.
And then honorable mention to Lamar Jackson, to Tua, and to CJ if you can pick it up, because he's got one season. You got to do more than one season, CJ. But man, the AFC is packed and loaded for bear with quarterbacks. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite alternate quarterback, Hong? Is there one out there, or are you just kind of sticking with red and gold? Not going to think about those other guys.
Red and gold. I don't really look at the others and say, "Who I really like that guy." I love stories. I love like some of the ones that you've already mentioned. I love their stories and everything. But sometimes I think, and people can say this about Patrick, but quarterbacks have to have a certain level of confidence and arrogance about them. And so I think that I would just stick with ours.
Or chip on their shoulder. My favorite quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the NFC, my favorite quarterback is Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh, is he really?
My favorite. Oh yeah, the guy's the last pick of the draft on a team that moved up to draft the guy number one.
I love that for him. I love that for him, but I don't know that I love him.
No, I just like he's a throwback. He's like. Mm-hmm. Put him on an NFL team 15 years ago, he's a top 3 quarterback.
For sure.
His decision-making and how fast he gets the ball out. Before it became the league of the running quarterback, which there's so many of them now, like ranging from the mobility Patrick has with the decision-making and timing to the just straight-out speed of Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels. Like, it's a different league. It's just a different league than it was 10, 15 years ago.
For sure.
That dude's like a truist. Like, he can sit back and pick you apart, and he can move around enough to like make some things happen. And I just love his story because he went on a team where the first round QB is not even on the team anymore. All he's done is like he's like the NFC version of us, where it's always going to the NFC Championship, whether they win or lose. They're always in the mix because of him. Now this season showed you how valuable Mr. McCaffrey is, because without him, they're not the same team, and they're not us. They aren't us. I made a point last week, and I'll reinforce it this week. This team is different because people that go there that aren't normal like reporters for the Chiefs, they're always saying stuff like, when you see them practice, it's like college. It's like they air horn and they're racing each other to the next drill. Like the stars of the team are racing so they can have bragging rights that they got to the drill first. That block, the block of the kick, the competition between Cochran and Karloftis and Leo to get that block was like they were betting money on it against like somebody had to buy lunch. Like it was crazy. It was awesome. But yeah, I love this team. And those 49ers, I see a few guys over there. They ain't got it. They got some talented people. Debo Samuel starting a beef with the holder.
Yeah.
Over the kicker missing or getting in the kicker's grill, and the holder's got to defend him, and then talking smack to just like, bro, you keep him right over there. We don't need any of that. I'll take Hollywood. From what I've seen, he's a team guy. I'll take D-Hop. From what I've seen, he's coming around. Yes. Although McCole Hardman had to like check him on the Bronco game. Did you hear about that, huh?
Tell me about
on the sideline at the end of the Bronco game. So on the Broncos are marching down the field. So I was listening to that game, and I got finished my job that day, and I got back around halftime.
Right after he missed
and then
the catch,
I finished up my work. I was listening to it on the. Well, no, this is just in general form. Like near the end of the game, I was like, I can catch the last few minutes of the game. It's it's close, whatever. We got the lead, but I go over to the sports bar that was next to the gym. I watched for like about a minute and a half. They're marching right down the field on us. I'm like, nope, I can't watch. I gotta listen to it the way I was listening to the rest of the game because I'm putting the bad juju on the game. I went back in the car and listened, and we get the later it comes up that McCole Hardman said, well, I had to pump up D-Hop. I had to let him know. It's like, I know where you've been, man, but this team's different. I'm telling you, I've seen crazier things happen with this team. This game is not over. Hang in there, bro. And he was like, D-Hop was just like, this dude, oh man, all that worry is just can't stop nothing. What's going on? He just was like not pointing out an individual, but just frustrated because look at what his path has been. He was on the pre-reveal that Deshaun Watson is a scumbag days when he was actually a good quarterback and everybody thought he was a good guy to like just abomination team after abomination team, like can't get on a good team. And then he gets to Kansas City and it's like, so the minute things started going the wrong way, he's going sideways because that's been the norm for this guy. He's got to learn. He's got to learn the Kansas City way of like, it's going to happen. The win's going to happen, bro. The win's going to happen. Hang in there. So I'm looking forward to him coming around. Do you think he's going to pick up his productivity with us?
I think so. It seems to be picking up. I mean, it's a slow start, but again, like, inserting a brand new player, learning everything in the playbook and getting his feet wet. Yes, he's a veteran in the game, but I think that there has to be a little bit of time for that transition to be fully come to fruition. So I definitely think his productivity will go up.
Yeah, there it's going to be. I'm telling you, when Hollywood comes back this season, and Pacheco, and Hunt, and Carson Steele. So those three in the backfield, sprinkling Samaje Perine in the passing game as well because he's a good receiver out of the backfield. Noah's coming to his own big time. Oh, yeah. That's all those receivers just getting healthy, getting together and clicking is going to open up space for Travis and just pick a target, man. Pick a target. Just don't forget to run the ball. Please don't forget to run the ball. That's all I ask. You have any parting thoughts for everybody, Hong? Do you have any thoughts on Carolina? We didn't really dig into the Carolina game. I'm not taking them for granted. The trap game would have been if we played them before the Bills. I think it's going to be let's remind everybody who the hell we are game. I think that's what it's going to be.
Definitely. And will that message be as valuable in a game against a team like the Panthers? Whereas last week, for example, against the Bills, will that message be as valuable? So I think the message will still be a little bit valuable. I think that regardless, we're going to have the naysayers who say, oh, it's just a Panthers team. It's just a very young Panthers team that's coming off of 2 wins. So either way, but I think that we come out and we will definitely set a really strong message that, hey, we're going to continue to charge forward. We're not going to let the one loss from last week stop us from the ultimate goal, which is February football.
Three-peat. It's all about the three-peat. Rob, it's 65 toss power trap. He's got a couple of rower numbers in the chat. Not 63, not 39.
It was his
65.
fingers hitting the wrong key. That's all that
Those
it was.
sausage fingers. I know how it is. I
Holly,
feel like
hello, Holly.
I would be more concerned. Obviously, I want to win, period. No loss this week for sure. But I would almost be more concerned by a close win against the Carolina Panthers than I was by losing to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because there's
That's
got to be
valid.
a statement's got to be made. You got to put away the teams that aren't great. And you got to show them that they're not great. We've got a couple double-digit wins this season. We got a couple 10-point wins this season. This was our first double-digit loss. This was our first 2-score loss in a minute. So I think a statement's got to be made this week. I think that we got the receiving horses to do it. I think that, whether we get Pacheco back or not, feed that ball to Kareem Hunt. Let that dude run. Let that thing get rolling. And make that defense think twice about pass rushing so we can start sprinkling some of that in. The other thing, too, the last thing I want to mention was Patrick forgot that he's a runner entirely last week. There were 2 or 3 times I'm like, why are you not taking 7 yards right now?
I yelled at the TV
It's
many
right there in
times
front of
for
you.
that very reason during the game. I'm
Yeah.
like, run around you. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like looking at that going, Hong's up off the couch right now. I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one screaming. I'm like, what are you doing? So, yeah, I think we're going to get things squared away this week. I think Andy's got everybody wired tight now. I think they got complacent with their I caught up. I hadn't watched the franchise at all. I watched 5 minutes of it before this week. I watched all of them this week. And I watched the 2 most recent ones, and then I watched the first one on. And I was like, they were almost getting complacent with the, how about those Chiefs? It was almost like because they've done it so many times in a row. I think it was just like, don't forget, you don't get to do that every week. You don't get to call that win, how about those Chiefs out every week.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's not a win. So let's not make this a habit. And let's make sure that we don't do it too often. And let's make sure that at the end of the season, we're saying, how about those Chiefs?
Just this one. Yeah. That's fine. I'm fine with just the one to kick us in the butt and get us squared away again.
So are you calling your shot right now? Are you calling 16-1 Kansas City Chiefs? Are you calling 16-1 3-peat Chiefs?
I am. I think that, especially I thought a loss would have come sooner in the season, honestly. If you asked me at the beginning of the season what my prediction would have been, that loss would have come sooner already. So, yes, I'm going to call it 16-1 because as long as we're super focused, we can beat out the rest of the teams on the schedule here.
I'll be honest, while I'm happy that they tied the team record for most wins in a row in a regular season, I was kind of hoping they would break the record on Buffalo's back. It didn't happen. It's okay. We still tied the record. That shows that that's another notch in this team's belt, in this iteration of the Kansas City Chiefs belt, because we've seen many as we've been fans for decades, you and I, and a number of people in the chat. But 3-peat. It's the undone record. It's the thing no one's done. Yes. It's the thing every dynasty will take a backseat to. Do this thing, and everyone else is number 2 or worse.
And then we'll continue to be hated. But that's okay, because that comes with the territory.
That's right. Guys, it's been a slice. It's been awesome having you back on. Good to see you.
This was great. Thank you.
Hopefully we can have her back on again soon, and hopefully it's for a win. And hopefully you guys will be smiling and cheering on the Kansas City Chiefs to a big double digit. Do we have a score? Let's get a score. Let's call some sacks. Let's call some interviews. We got to get some sacks going.
Oh boy. Yeah, and we need like a very, very, very strong win. Like, can I get a 30 burger in this game? That would be really, really nice.
It would only be our second one all season.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
We've only had one.
So, which is unlike
crazy.
Crazy. So I'm going to say score prediction. I'm going to say 30, 35, 14.
I'm going to go. Oof. No, I don't want to go that way. Do they get – no, we have a really good defense. I was going to say 35-17. I'm going to go 35-10.
Ooh.
I'm going to say we get after the quarterback. I'm going to say we get 4 sacks. You got a sack number for me?
6 sacks.
Like the way you think. I'll say 5 or 6 if we get a Menahu back. I'd say if Menahu's out again another week, I say we get 4. And I'm going to say we take the ball away twice through the air.
Okay.
Do you have any picks? Do you have any turnovers?
We're going to get sacked, 6 sacks. We'll say 3 turnovers.
3 turnovers. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I like the mix. It's good. All right. You heard it here, folks. 35-14, 35-10. And I've got fewer sacks and fewer picks than she has, but we're both thinking it's going to be a defensive
I'm thinking big.
barnstormer this week. I want to see it. We got the call in there. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and screenshot this right now. Screenshot the whole thing so it can't be taken away from me, so don't forget.
That's right.
All right. Rob Mulligan says, great show, 30-13. Holly says, we're due a 30 burger. Truth. Huong Forrest right there, 35-14. Cole says 35-13. 4 sacks, 2 picks. And 4 sacks, 1 interception for Rob. Holly says this. We'll leave the show with this right here. I agree in general with these predictions.
Love it.
It's a good non-committal way to put it together. All right, guys.
In all situations, we win. So I agree.
That's right. That's true. It's the truth. What are those 2 magic words we always say at the end of the show, Huong Forrest?
Go Chiefs.
She remembered. She had to think for a second, but she remembered go Chiefs.
Let me make sure.
Right? Nice job. It's good to have you